Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast, brought to you by Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue from Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. This information is general in nature and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Therefore, you should consider whether the information is appropriate for you and your personal circumstances. If you require personal advice, please contact Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. Here are your hosts, Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue.
Welcome to Money Over 50 with Dallas and Michael. Dallas, what are you talking about today? Your topic?
Today, my topic is fridges with ice makers.
Fridges with ice makers. I like the name. That's a real clickbait topic there.
Nicola and I actually spent some time last night Googling what is that called? So I think everyone knows what I mean. You've got a fridge that's got like a built-in water dispenser and ice dispenser. So what got me thinking about this is, as everything does, it got me thinking about money and the use of that in order to live a flourishing and happy life. When I was a kid, I thought that having a fridge with a built-in cold water and ice dispenser was just the height of luxury. I really thought that I'll know I've made it in life when I've got a fridge with an ice dispenser. And I don't know where I got this from, but I do really enjoy cold water and ice water. And so I just remember thinking, that's my dream. And if I went to someone's house, you know, like little things, trappings of wealth, that when you're a kid and you see someone with something. I remember going to people's houses and seeing they had one of these fridges and just thinking, these guys are killing it. They've got the fridge with the built-in thing. Actually, now that I talk about it, I think I remember because my father used to make a drink for him every night, just before dinner. And he would have, I think at the time he was drinking like scotch and soda. So I'd have to go make a scotch and soda. And we had all these old, crappy ice, the plastic things. And I'd have to go and break them all apart, put them in a little bucket, go and fill them back up again. I remember thinking every night, why can't we just have one of these fridges where I could just jam the cup into it and away you go? So, but what that got me thinking about is, I think a lot of people think that a financial planner's role, or that we've talked about this before, that when it comes to spending money, you have to wear a hair shirt, and that anything that you go to spend money on is not good. And instead of spending any money, you should just wedge it all into your super fund and save and squirrel everything away for the future. What got me thinking about this is that I'm now 32 years old, and I've reached a point of financial stability whereby, a $3,000 outlay on a fridge would not be the most ridiculous, outlandish thing to spend money on. And yet I still do not have a fridge with an ice maker.
Yep.
And I think that is a flaw in my logic, and I think that's a flaw in my reasoning. And I think that I should have a fridge with an ice maker. And what got me thinking about this...
Do you want a fridge with an ice maker?
I do want a fridge with an ice maker, because the point of this is that there are so many things that we accumulate over time. And so, like, when I was a 17-year-old, electrical apprentice earning $300 a week, it didn't make any sense for me to buy a fridge with an ice maker, because that money was really had to be focused on drinking every week.
Allocated to the pub.
Exactly.
You want the pub to get a fridge with an ice maker.
That's exactly what I wanted. But now that I think that there's potentially a window into some unhealthy insights there, which is when I was a kid, I had no money. We had no decision-making power in the household. And then as I became an adult, I went, right, I know I still do want that. Like that would still be something that I would get a lot of enjoyment out of. But I'm 17, I don't have the money to do that. And so the healthy approach, I think, there is not to dwell on that, not to think about it. But now, 15 years on, I'm in a different financial position. I could afford to do that. There are other things, like we've just bought a house, we've bought furniture. There are other things that I have that we as a couple have spent money on that I don't really care about. That I've just kind of we've done that, and to some degree it's not thoughtless spending, but it's there's a lot of other things that I've spent $3,000 on, but I haven't gone out and bought a fridge with an ice maker. And I think it's fundamentally flawed logic, because we see this all the time in people, where if you look at someone who spends $60,000 and then someone who spends $120,000, it's very rare that the person who spends $120,000 all of their extra expenditure is on things that they really care about. It tends to
You're
just
spot on
be-
there. You're spot on. That's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is that product manufacturers,
Yeah.
and there's literally thousands of existing products, some of which we are very familiar with, like fridges.
Yeah.
So all of those products are having the latest fancy gadgets added to them,
Yeah.
and not only that, there's new products
Yeah.
coming online.
Yeah.
I see some consumers that are more towards the end of spending $120,000 a year, or $150,000 or $180,000 a year, or more.
Mm-hmm.
They always have the latest things.
Yes. Yep.
They aren't getting any much more enjoyment out of those.
No.
And I joke about this because I say, okay, all of these automatic things now, like, not that it was that hard, but you said it before. You actually had to go open the freezer,
Break the
crack
ice.
open the ice,
Yeah.
put it into a cup,
Fill
it back up, and do. So you were doing more work than you do with the fridge with an ice maker. And I'm digressing here.
Yeah.
So you do less with the fridge with an ice maker.
Yeah.
We used to have to wind our own windows up and down. The listeners would remember this, of course. There was no automatic windows.
No, I remember this.
Now these cars, these product manufacturers are always putting the latest thing in. So they won't even let us turn the windscreen wipers on. So all of these automatic things that are happening
Yes.
in our lives because product manufacturers are ramming it down our throats
Yeah.
mean that as a consequence we have to go and sign up for boot camp.
Yeah.
We're not even winding our windows up and down now.
Yeah.
So as a result, we're so sedentary.
So sedentary that we
So we now have to go and sign up for 3 mornings a week boot camp,
and then
we
get
have to
back
get
in
up
the
at
car
5 a.m.
and drive back and drive home.
I mean that's tongue in cheek. But we've done a podcast called Thoughtful, Delayed, Considered Spending.
Yeah.
That podcast just highlighted for me the differences between the clients that I see that they're not afraid to spend money, but they'll think about it for a while. They'll. I have a lounge in my house that's more expensive than some Korean cars. so I thought about that for 6 months before I bought it. Now, when I actually came up with the reason to buy it was that it was great quality. The sales lady was brilliant because she said, you'll spend more time on this lounge than you will in a Korean car.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything about Korean cars. I'm saying they're great, but they're low cost. That's the analogy there.
Yeah.
So I thought about that, and I thought this is going to be a 20-year purchase.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid to spend money in those situations.
Yeah.
My whole thought process is less things, better quality things.
Yeah.
And it's actually thinking about it, delaying it as a thinking about it first, considering it over time, and then inevitably that's delaying the purchase before you pull the trigger and actually buy that item.
Yeah.
So it's the people that I see that just throw their hands up in the air and they don't know where their money's going, and ordinarily these people are high income people.
Absolutely.
I mean, by its very nature.
Yeah.
High income people have money to blow. Low income people don't have money. They're more frugal.
That's right.
These I'm going on a rant here. But the people that are on $500,000 a year as a couple, $250,000 each, or $300,000 and $200,000 or something like that, they come in, they're time poor.
Yeah.
They're rushing around all the time, and they throw their hands up in the air and they say, we don't know where our money's gone. Well, I can tell you where it's gone. Like you can, if you look at the daily consumables that you can actually purchase, and there's no friction there anymore, because the friction used to be you actually had to get in your car and drive to a store to purchase something. Yeah. That friction doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. there's a guy in our suburb that delivers things, and I know him on a first name basis, and we wave to each other. He's in the street all the time. Like so what I'm talking about there is this consumerism is only going one way, and people, there's just no friction there anymore in terms of what people are spending.
The point you're making is that, and this comes back to the thoughtful versus thoughtless spending, is that you can't tell me that there's a delivery driver in your street every week because everyone has something that they've thought really deeply about and rationally sat down and gone, I really will value this, I will spend money on this, and the delivery driver's going to... There's no way that he's coming there every day to deliver that.
No.
It has to be the case that 95% of those deliveries are things that people either don't really need or won't really get value out of, or they could make do with the old one, or they could make do with a cheaper
absolutely.
one.
Absolutely. And like, you're not sitting there making a drink and thinking, gee, this is terrible. I've got to actually open the freezer and crack open some ice. I mean, so people aren't sitting there thinking that. You're not thinking, if you've still got a car like I do that doesn't, the windscreen wipers don't come on when a speck of water hits it. So I have to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm not sitting there thinking, gee, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I think there's you have these people that are throwing their hands up in the air, right? So they're saying, where's our money going? Yeah. I'll put it to you, they're less happy with more things.
Yes.
They're less happy with more things than someone that has less things, but has better quality things
that they've thought deeply
about what they actually want.
There's a couple of things that I've just made notes to myself that. So the first one is, it sounds weird as a bit of a side to it, but for anyone who's been to Japan, I think the Japanese people, as a rule, do this brilliantly. So not everything in Japan, but often the things in Japan I've noticed are perfect. They are the exact perfect thing that's required for that purpose. So, you go to an onsen, which is like a hot spring bath thing, and there'll be a bucket there that you splash. There's like a scoop that you pour water on yourself before you get in. Now, it's never like a piece of crap. It's always the exact perfect shape and made out of the right material that's going to last for the long term. And it's not an expensive thing. Like it's not made out of gold. It's not just made out of wood or whatever. But it's perfectly designed, perfectly crafted, and it's the exact thing. So someone's thought really deeply about, okay, we need a scoop for people to wash themselves before they get in here. What is the exact type of thing that we would need that will sit there and will be perfect for what's required for the next 20 years? And that's what they go and buy. They're not jumping on Amazon and hitting plastic soup and then going, oh, that one was broken or that one doesn't work or the heat's gotten to it or anything like that. And so that's the first sort of thought that I had is that that's the approach that I think we're recommending here, is not to say consumerism's bad, you should go and live in a commune somewhere and not spend any money on anything. Is to have that approach to things, which is, what is the life that I actually want to live? What are the things that I require in order to live that best life? And how can I very thoughtfully, very deliberately spend the resources that I have in order to help me craft that life? The other thing there's a concept, I got no idea what the name of it is, that a philosopher came up with, where it talks about the thought experiment of it's someone's coat. And what they're saying is, you go and you buy a coat, and you buy brand new, and this is from the old, days, you go and buy this brand new coat, and it's immaculate, not like your old ratty threadbare one. And so you feel really good about that. And then you go home and you put your coat on the back of your chair, and then you go, oh, the chair looks really substandard compared to the coat. Now I've got this nice new coat, and so I now need a new chair because otherwise it looks out of place because I've got the new coat, not the new chair. And then you buy the new chair, and so then you go, oh, then I've got a new chair, but an old table with little dings in the wood, and I've got this, so I've got to get this new table. And then you buy the new table, and then you go, oh, okay, well, with that new table, the stuff that I've got, my utensils that I use to eat on that table there. And the point here is that if you're not careful, that never ends. Everything around you just sort of gets dragged up to that level of spending, so that everything's of the same sort of ilk. And I think that what you really want is the opposite of that. So for me, for example, and this is, so I've got, you've seen my car. It's fairly unimpressive.
It's now worse than mine for the listeners out there. So it's been a race to the bottom. And we've painted ourselves into a corner. We can't ever buy a new car. We've done many podcasts on driving a $15,000 car. Not that I want one, but it's Dallas has really, really taken us to the next level.
So my car, I think it's a 2009 Camry, a white Camry, which you'll see 6 million of them on the road. And I'm also a bit of an inattentive driver. So as I've said before, I never hit things. I never hit animals. Just bumpers and posts and things like that. So every panel on that car has got a ding in it. And the other day, I was reversing out and actually sideswiped a post that was on my driver's side and scraped the whole door panel and smashed the mirror off as well. So to tie all this back in together, I then took my car, which I don't care about, and many people have seen my car of late and gone, "Geez, mate, you've got to sort this out. This is a disgrace. There's scratches all over it. There's dings everywhere." I took my car to the panel beater and said, "Right, well, I need a new mirror because that's actually not roadworthy. That's unsafe. I need that new mirror." I said, "While you're here, can you just give me a quote for fixing these dings?" And as we walked around the car, I went, "Right, well, that panel needs to be fixed. This needs this. This needs
$85,000.
Yeah,
would have been, if they're going to fix all that.
So what it was, which was really interesting, it was $4,000.
Yeah, sure.
So that's what got me thinking about this: is that I've got this car that probably isn't worth $4,000. I could spend $4,000 on getting rid of all those little scratches and dings in that car, or I could spend $1,000 on getting the mirror replaced and put back on and making it roadworthy again, save that $3,000 and go and buy myself a fridge with an ice maker.
That's right.
And that I think is the point around that spending is that's what I should be doing. This is not what other people should be doing.
No.
I should be doing that because I never once as a kid, I never once as a young adult thought about I want to drive a nice car with no dings in it. I've never given that a thought, and clearly haven't given it a thought because that's why I've driven my car the way I have. But I have spent 32 years thinking about a fridge with an ice maker.
Yeah.
So that is where that $3,000 should be going, is towards that fridge with an ice maker and not towards polishing up the dings in this car that I've never thought about and never really cared about at all.
Look, I agree. I love the irony here because you're the most logical man that I know, or one of them, and marketing has worked on you for this fridge with the ice maker. You realise it's not the fridge with the ice maker. It's not the functional part of that. It's the and I don't even know the correct term. I'm going to say the marketing, the positioning
of
you
that.
Like
made it
you've
in life.
thought of making that in life.
Yeah.
It's a complete manifestation of your own mind here.
It's really interesting because that's why I've gone out of my way to not do it for the last 15 years. Because I've gone, do I actually want this fridge? Because I'm sure it's probably just, I probably went somewhere when I was a real little kid with, someone who was really wealthy or was successful in my eyes or something, and they had a fridge with an ice maker, and that's got lodged in my brain. And then I've probably just seen all these ads about fridges with ice makers, and if you do that, there's all the happy family running around and smiling couples gazing at each other, and so I've spent the last 15 years going, it's probably just marketing. It's probably just marketing. And now I go, no, it's the ice maker.
You want the ice.
I want the ice. I've come out the other side. I've spent so long thinking about it and delaying this where I've gone, no, it's just marketing. It's just marketing. And then when I got that quote for the car, that was the first thing that popped into my head was, if I don't get that car fixed, if I don't get all those dings fixed and take that $3,000, I can buy a fridge with an ice maker. I never have to think about ice again. I never have to break it out of the thing and fill it again, and then it gets caught on the bottom thing and the frozen food in there, and I get sick of it every time, and then it makes a big noise and wakes up one of the kids, and I get frustrated. I could just that's where that money should go. So I take on board your point, and there are many other things where I've gone, I want this, and then I go, no, you don't. You don't want that at all. You've just seen the marketing, and you've had this position in front of you. But you've heard it here first. That's my next purchase. I'm going to go out. I'm going to buy myself a fridge with an ice maker.
Thank you for listening to the Money Over 50 podcast with Money Over 50 financial advisors. For more information and resources, visit the Money Over 50 website, mo50.com.au. We look forward to catching up again soon.